Chapter 1: The Power of Thoughts. Everything begins with a thought. Before every success, before every invention, before every victory, there was a single idea, floating quietly in someone's mind. That's where the power lies. The mind is not just a place of thinking, it's the birthplace of reality. What you think, you become. What you focus on, you attract. What you repeat, you believe. Your thoughts are the invisible architects of your future. They build, they destroy, they shape the very direction of your life. Every decision you make begins here, in the secret chambers of your mind. Soft ambient hum builds behind narration. If your thoughts are filled with fear, you'll live in limitation. If your thoughts are rooted in faith, you'll move mountains. But most people never learn to direct this power. They let their thoughts run wild, filled with worry, doubt, comparison, and regret. They become prisoners of their own thinking. The truth is, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the captain of this ship, not the storm that surrounds it. The problem is not that we think too much, it's that we think without awareness. We let fear speak louder than purpose. We let the past dictate the present. We let negative voices write the story of our lives. But today, that ends. Today, you take back control of your mind. You learn to guide your thoughts like a master commands his army. Music shifts, steady drums begin, symbolizing control and rhythm. You must train your mind to obey you. When the thought says, "I can't," you answer, "I can and I will." When it says, "I'm tired," you whisper, "I am stronger than this feeling." When it says, "This is too hard," you reply, "Hard is how I grow." The moment you change your response, you change your reality. Your brain listens to the words you feed it. It doesn't distinguish between truth and lie. It believes what you repeat. So if you keep saying you're weak, you will feel weak. If you keep saying you're broken, you'll stay broken. But if you start saying you're unstoppable, your brain begins to search for proof. It starts to build pathways of confidence. It starts to shift your emotions, your body, your energy. This is how mental rewiring begins. Science calls it neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to reorganize itself through repetition and focus. You can literally train your brain to think stronger, to react calmer, to believe deeper. Sound fades to gentle tone, a moment of stillness. So here's the first step. Watch your thoughts. Just observe them, without judgment. When a negative thought appears, don't fight it. Just see it, name it, and release it. Say to yourself, "This thought is not who I am." You are the thinker, not the thought. This small shift creates space between you and your emotions. And in that space, there's power. The power to choose. To replace fear with faith. To replace doubt with vision. To replace anger with peace. Soft violin rises. Voice becomes more intimate. Every morning, your mind wakes up with two options: to replay the same story, or to write a new one. If you want change, start with what you say to yourself. Because self-talk becomes self-belief. Repeat this daily. I am not my fears. I am not my failures. I am the power behind my thoughts. Say it until it feels real. Because what feels real becomes real. You don't need perfect circumstances. You need a trained mind. You don't need everything to make sense. You need a clear inner voice that says, "Keep going." The music fades into silence. A soft heartbeat sound begins. Listen to your mind right now. What is it saying? Is it empowering you or limiting you? Your greatest battle will never be with the world outside. It will always be with the world inside. But that's good news, because you have the power to win it. It doesn't require strength. It requires awareness. It doesn't require luck. It requires repetition. It doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. The mind, like a muscle, becomes what you train it to be. If you practice gratitude, it becomes peaceful. If you practice focus, it becomes sharp. If you practice resilience, it becomes unbreakable. But if you practice complaining, it becomes hopeless. If you practice comparison, it becomes bitter. If you practice quitting, it becomes weak. So ask yourself, what are you training your mind for today? Sound swells, light percussion and piano blend together. The most powerful people on earth didn't get there by accident. They learned to control their internal language. When everyone else said, "It's over," they said, "It's not finished." When failure came, they used it as data, not as defeat. They understood that reality bends to thought. Your mind is a magnet. It attracts experiences that match your dominant beliefs. If you constantly think, "I always lose," you will find proof of loss. If you declare, "I'm unstoppable," life will test you, but you will rise stronger. It's not magic, it's focus. The universe responds to certainty, and certainty comes from trained thought. Calm silence returns, voice lowers to a reflective whisper. Think of your thoughts as seeds. What you plant, grows. If you plant fear, you harvest limitation. If you plant courage, you harvest strength. Every day is a new garden. You can start again, right now. Choose your seeds wisely. When you wake up tomorrow, before touching your phone, before speaking to anyone, say to yourself, "Today, I choose powerful thoughts. Today, I feed my mind peace, purpose, and persistence." And when fear whispers, "You can't," let your heart answer, "Watch me." Because your thoughts, when trained, become commands to your destiny. Music builds into a cinematic rise, strings, slow drumbeat. Never underestimate the power of a single idea. It can turn an entire life around. It can awaken purpose in someone who was ready to quit. And that someone might be you. So, when you think of your dreams, don't think small. When you speak about your future, don't speak with doubt. Speak as if it's already done. Think as if you're already there. Live as if the universe has no choice but to follow your conviction. Because it doesn't start with luck. It starts with thought. Everything begins in the mind. Train it, protect it, elevate it, and it will serve you beyond imagination. Your life will expand to the size of your beliefs. So believe big, dream louder, think higher, and remember, what the mind believes, the spirit achieves. Soft fade out, light piano melody continues as the narrator concludes. You have entered the first stage of transformation, mastering your thoughts. Next, you will learn to endure, not just to think strong, but to stay strong. Because thought is the spark, endurance is the fire,